Hi, my name is Kevin Hiatt. I'm a neuroradiologist at Wake Forest and the current AJNR podcast editor. I'm fortunate to be joined today by Dr. Max Wintermark, who is a professor of radiology and the chair of neuroradiology at the University of Texas MD Anderson Center in Houston. He is the newly appointed editor-in-chief for the AJNR. Aside from his medical degree, he has completed a master's degree in clinical research. He has previously been on the editorial board for the AJNR and has published over 500 articles. Today, Dr. Wintermark will be discussing his vision for the AJNR and planned changes to the review process. We would like to encourage all prospective authors and reviewers for the AJNR to listen closely to what he has to say. Dr. Wintermark, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Let's start off with question number one here. Can you tell us about exciting changes coming to the AJNR?
Yes, so many changes are going to come to the AJNR. The first two are new editorial board and a new review process. In terms of the new editorial board, we expanded it considerably. The idea was to match really the expansion of the field of neuroradiology, and we felt like it was really important to have an expanded editorial board in order to be able to do justice to the breadth of article types that are submitted to the AJNR. And we now have 14 editorial teams. The 14 topics are emergency neuroradiology, neurovascular stroke imaging, neurodegenerative disorder imaging. Then we have one that's quite broad that includes ultra-high field, MRI, epilepsy, demyelinating disease, inflammation and infection. Then we have brain tumor imaging, neuropsychiatric imaging, pediatric neuroimaging, head and neck imaging, spine imaging and spine image-guided intervention, neurointervention, neuroimaging physics, molecular neuroimaging in nuclear medicine, health policies, quality improvement, and evidence-based neuroimaging, and finally, last but not least, artificial intelligence. So that was quite a mouthful.
That's a wide range of specialization to kind of pull together and get experts in each of those topics. That seems like something very important, though, as you review these very highly subspecialized articles that come to the journal.
Yes, indeed. And I think perhaps just if I may interrupt, before I became the editor-in-chief, I conducted a large call for opinion and input on the journal. And I think that's a topic that came back repeatedly, which is when an author with a certain expertise submits an article to the journal, they expect the editors and the reviewers to have the appropriate expertise to basically give them valuable feedback. And so that was really the impetus of expanding the editorial board and changing the review process.
Great. And so of your proposed changes, which will specifically improve the peer review process?
So a number of them, but perhaps to mention a couple. So for each of those 14 editorial team, we'll have one senior and two associate editors, and all those three folks will review each paper. So each paper will be again assessed by three editors with the appropriate expertise for the paper, sometimes even more, because the system is designed in such a way, for instance, that if you have an article dealing with stroke and AI, as an example, both the stroke and the AI editorial team will be involved in reviewing the paper. So really it should guarantee the best possible review for the article. And matching the 14 editorial team, we also have 14 dedicated pool of reviewers with expertise pertaining to the topic of the editorial team. So we really hope that will really enhance the quality of the reviews and the feedback that we provide to the authors.
Sounds like a very well organized process. Uh, so- And and so when are these changes going to be implemented? What's the plan?
They have already started. So the new editorial teams, we spend August and September to identify them. It was done through a process of call for applications. And so we have identified those teams, and they started working on October 1st. And so you know, if you submit new articles to the AJNR, you should be able to experience that new process. We have already observed a decrease in the turnaround time for articles. It's now less than 3 weeks between when you submit your article and when you get the answer, and we hope to bring that number down even a little bit more.
Great. And so how do you ensure that? How do you ensure that submitted manuscripts are assessed by reviewers with adequate expertise, but also in a timely manner?
So again, we for each of the 14 editorial team, we created a pool of reviewers that have the appropriate expertise. That pool was created through different means. We looked at our reviewer statistics to identify our best reviewers for the journal. We also ask for input from relevant specialty societies or committees of the ASNR to get the contact information for great reviewers. And also, we did a call for application, and I would like to repeat that call for application now. Anybody with the appropriate expertise is really welcome and encouraged to be a reviewer for the AJNR. The one caveat is that the people who want to be reviewers for the AJNR need to commit to a 2-week turnaround time for the articles that they are asked to review. They will not receive more than 4 or 5 articles a year to review. But really, for the whole system to work well and for us to be able to give the authors a timely feedback, we need those reviews to be performed within 2 weeks. And we understand that everybody is busy, everybody has a lot of commitments. The number of studies that we read increases every day. But really, the hope is that folks who volunteer to be reviewers take that into account at the time of volunteering, so that again we constantly have a pool of reviewers who are able or willing, in most of the case, to perform those reviews within 2 weeks of being asked to do them.
That sounds excellent. Within 2 weeks would be amazing, and that's a big plus for people submitting articles to the journal to be able to get feedback back quickly about how things are going. This is part of a two-part interview. This concludes part one of the interview, and we would encourage you to listen to part two, where Dr. Wintermark will talk further in detail about this new review process. Thanks for joining us today.